Okay, so we all did the transfusion day 1. That's probably the longest piece out of all of the 3 days that we're going to do. You'll want to open your computers. We are going to modify the worksheet that you're going to do today. So today we're doing the day 2. So you'll open up the transfusion lab day 2. Maybe we can do makeup quizzes tomorrow. Maybe you could hook up with me, or you could come to the office hour today. We could do it then too. So today we're doing diffusion lab day 2, and we're going to try to partner people in the room with people out of the room. So that means you will need to be in the Zoom. I'm going to go through the content. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be testing for antigens, right? Antigens, remember, are the proteins on the surface of the membrane of the red blood cells. We're using an antiserum. An antiserum is simulating antibodies. So in class, you guys are probably going to have to show the out-of-class people the things that I'm talking about when we get turned loose here. But you have 4 wells. I have to give you new ones. You're going to have 4 wells. Okay? Actually, you only need 3. You need 3. And we're going to do 3 blood samples. And it's best to have a white piece of paper underneath it because it's hard to see reactions on the black top. Okay? So we want to know if a certain antigen is in this blood sample. Okay? So if it has antigen A, what type of blood is it? A. And if it has antigen B, it is B. And if it has antigen A and B, and if it doesn't have anything. Correct. Okay. So how do we find out if the antigen is present? So there'll be 1 sample, and please take note of the name of the individual. So like this is Mr. Green. So I'll put 1 or 2 drops of this stimulated blood, which is really just a chemical, it's no blood at all, in each of the wells. Each of the wells. Okay. So that's the antigen. The antiserum that we're going to use will react with the antigen if it's present. So in this first one, there was no reaction here at A. So we're going to say there was a negative result. There is a reaction clearly in the B and in the RH. RH is a second protein. So if you have the protein, you're positive, and if you don't have the protein, you're negative. So like I'm A positive blood, so I have A antigens and RH antigens. Okay? Clumping shows presence of the antigen because the antibody is attacking the antigen, causing it to clump. Agglutination. So last week we did coagulation, this week agglutination. So the antibodies are plasma proteins. They're not cells. They attach to the cells. On the surface, they'll attach to that particular antigen. So the antibody for A fits A, like enzymes. Antibody for B fits B. And we know A and B are different shapes. So they'll see how they're going to cause them all to stick together and make a clump. And so really these chemical tests are just creating a precipitate by reacting 2 chemicals together. But that's what your body does. The antibody would react with the antigen and then causes it to be heavy because now it's a big clump and it falls out of solution. So it would precipitate. Okay? So we're going to use antibodies to try to find these antigens. So back to the lab. You have 3 antiserums. So it says anti-A, we'll put that in the A well. The anti-B, put it in the B well. And the anti-RH, you would put in the RH well, right? So again, I just need like 1 drop of each. So in just the 1 well. So pretend I did it for all 3. You got a marker in here so you can write down like who each one is, or you can use pencil, but keep track of who your people are. So then, all right, I'll do it. There's anti-B and anti-RH. And for efficiency's sake, because we will be sharing chemicals and we'll use wipes in between, for efficiency's sake, I think you're most efficient if you do each of your blood samples, shoot, get the next blood sample, shoot, the next one, shoot, get your blood samples done, and then go through your RH, A, B, B, assembly line. Then you can use a stick if you need to mix them together. I don't want to contaminate my sample, so did you notice I flipped my stick in between? You can flip your stick and get 2 uses out of it, or just grab another one. Let me see. So down here, it's definitely clumping. Over here, I believe it looks like it's clumping. This one on this end is still liquidy, not clumping. See, drip. So this one clumped in A and RH, but it did not clump in B. Okay? So you're testing for the presence of the antigen. If it clumps, the antigen is there. So that's a positive result. You can either write clumped or clumped. Either one works. Okay, so this person would have A positive blood, because those are the two that clump. Okay, so on the test, I will give you a sample to analyze. So you just, as long as you're reading the sample correctly, that's what we need to get out of it today. Okay. Okay. So that's the agglutination. Here's an example. So I just showed you my example. But this one is very clear, right? Clearly no reaction here or here. So no clump in the A and no clump with anti-RH. It did clump with B. So I'll put a positive, or I could say clumped. So this tells you the blood type. It's B negative because there was no RH. Okay. So see if you guys can figure this out. I'm going to turn the lights off to make it easier. Not every sample is as easy to read as that one I just showed you. So what do you think about these? What clumped in this first sample here? What do you guys think? Did it clump in A? Did it clump in B? Yeah. And RH? Yeah. This one is a little bit tough because it fills the whole thing, but and the closer you are to the computer, maybe the easier. There's like purple particles in there. So I can see that it clumped, so this is B positive. How about this one? What do you think? Which one's clumped? A and RH. So this one is A positive. How about this one, number 3? Anything clumped? No. So O, because nothing clumped, negative, because no RH. And in this one? Yeah. A negative. A clumped, but the RH did not. Okay. So that's what we're going to do in the lab. So yeah, you're going to want to be there. I showed you the setup. Let's look at your worksheet because I'm altering your worksheet a little bit. So pull up, everybody join me in pulling up this document. This is day 2. I went through and already, I thought I had to like open every single individual to make the change. And then I decided after I made the first change, you guys can do the rest. So the first change I made was making these first 4 characters match my blood samples because like my kit uses different names. So I already did this for you. You should have those 4 highlighted, yes? Okay. Highlight all 4 boxes because we're going to copy it. And we're going to go down to this table here, Table 3, highlight those 3 and paste. Or 4. So now it says Mr. Smith, Mr. Green, Mr. Jones, and Ms. Brown. Yeah? Okay. You had a sample here. We're deleting it. Table 4, you can delete. Highlight it, right click, delete table. Yeah. So originally, in my brain, the gold group was coming back on Thursday. And so I was going to have the gold group run the second sample set. But it's the afternoon classes, not the morning classes. The storyline behind this is you have these patients, and not very many usually die in surgery, but 50% of the patients died. So they're trying to figure out, why did they die? So although you have in the beginning, it says what blood type each of them have, and what was the transfused bag, like the blood that they were given. So there's all these deaths, and you're trying to figure out why there were all these deaths. So they have you technicians run the samples again to verify indeed Mr. Smith had type AB blood. And indeed you used AB blood on him, right? So that's what you're doing. And today we're verifying their blood type. And then the Thursday group would have verified the transfusion bag. But we don't have a Thursday group. So we're not going to do the transfusion bag, which means we've deleted table 4. And now we don't need the questions that relate to the table. So in the end, I just need these 2 questions. Are they 1 and 2? Did any of the patients who received type O have problems? Explain on a cellular level why giving someone blah, blah, blah. Okay, so this is question 2 and 3. So you would delete 1 and then the rest. Yeah, because it's like, why was the death so high, and is this malpractice? And really what I want you to learn is just how to type blood. And this is a different activity than I do a different blood typing activity that is a little longer drawn out, and this one was short. I could do it in a day. And I liked how it had a storyline that went over 3 days. But in the end, we just need to answer these 2 questions. Okay, so anybody in either world need help on which items to delete or copy?
Yeah, do we delete the 3rd one or the 4th one?
The table?
Yeah.
So that would be table 4. I'm going to create breakout rooms so that in-house and out of class will work together. While I'm doing that, these 3 pink questions are pretty much like pre-lab questions. So I'm going to reveal my slide. Did we get Mr. Green was AB positive? He reacted in all 4 reactions in all 4. Mr. Brown did not react with anything. O negative. Mr. Smith, we didn't do, but if we did, we see that he reacted in A and RH. That makes him A positive. Mr. Jones, he only reacted in B. Yeah. So B negative. So the at-home people, if you didn't see very well, hopefully this slide set helps you see what you should have seen in the lab.
Okay.
The important thing is that you know how to read these samples.
Okay.
Okay? So if you can look at Mr. Smith, even though you have a different result, if you can look at that and say A positive, you accomplish what we needed to accomplish.
Okay, thank you.
Okay? So we just have a couple questions to finish on that. We'll turn that in today, and then we'll hit the last piece of this tomorrow, which is the genetics component. You know, before we had due dates as like 12 and 7:45 and whatever, they're just going to be like, normally in school, this is due tomorrow during whatever the 3rd hour. So just do the next one. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes that 11:59 is in there. It's the default time. My MSU interns are putting it in. They don't take the time. nothing is ever 11 days from now. But from now on, it's just gonna be the next meeting time. Unless it's a warm up, then it makes sense.